Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Brooks's Bass Corner, live chat number 18, coming to you from kind of sunny London, in heading towards the end of July as we race through the summer, doing loads of gigs. Hope you're all safe and well out there. Welcome to the third Monday in a row. I've booked in 5 live chats for consecutive Monday evenings. Hope you're safe and well. Thank you for joining us. If you're out there, you might be listening to this after the event. Don't worry, you can get involved in the video and the live chat even after it's finished. So if you've got any questions or anything you'd like to ask regarding this video or anything on the channel, you can put it in the comment box, comment section, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. Hope everyone's doing well. I've had a very busy weekend and a busy week of gigs since I last spoke to you last Monday. I've done 5 gigs and seen Marcus Miller at Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club here in London, and was very lucky and extremely fortunate to get to spend 30 minutes with him after the show. So we will talk about that in this video. We will also talk about the semi-retirement of Rob Green at Status Graphite. Status Graphite being one of the premier UK luthier and bass manufacturers here in the UK and in the world. And after 40 years and a cancer diagnosis, which apparently has been successfully treated, Rob has decided to kind of wind things down at Status Graphite, although there will still be some new product coming through at some point, but he's kept that rather open-ended in the message that's been communicated on Status's website and on their social media channels. So we'll have a chat about that. If you've got anything you would like to comment about regarding bass guitarists, bass gear, effects, the basses themselves, amplification, pedals, accessories, anything you would like to talk about, that is what this live chat is all about. There's a chat window to the right of the desktop platform. If you're on the mobile app, I think the chat window is underneath the video window. So if you'd like to communicate with me, it's a two-way process. So if you guys have got anything you want to ask, anything about the channel, anything that's on the channel, any of the content or the videos, anything bass related, fire it in there and I will come back to you as this live chat progresses. If you want to ask anything about stuff I've written for Bass Guitar Magazine or Bass Player Magazine, feel free to put those questions on there as well. If you want to have a discussion about gigs you've done over the weekend or over the week, wherever you are in the world, this is not just a UK live chat, this is international. So if you've got anything you'd like to discuss bass-wise, then speak up and we will discuss it here this evening. Thank you very much to all the subscribers, all the people that are watching the videos, commenting on the videos, firing questions over, likes and follows on the social media versions of the channel. It's all very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And I am very happy to announce that there will be some new content going up tomorrow. And in fact, this week is going to be particularly busy. I haven't put too many videos up over the last 6 months. It's been rather hectic here. But thankfully, as of tomorrow, the first batch of new content is going up. I won't tell you what it is. You'll have to tune in and check it out to find out what it's all about. But hopefully you'll find it very useful. For anyone who hasn't attended one of these live chats before or hasn't watched any of the videos and you're new to the channel, you are more than welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you look on the chat window, regardless of whether you're on the desktop version or the mobile app, you will see at the bottom of the chat window there are several icons. One is an emoji icon, so you can fill the chat window with emojis if you wish. There is a $, which is for super chat, which I'll come back to, and there's also a poll icon, although I don't think you guys out there get to see that. That's if I want to set up a poll and have a discussion with you and want to see what your opinions are. Going back to the $sign, that allows you, and it's called super chat. So if you're enjoying this live chat, or you enjoy the content that's up on the channel, or anything about what we do here on Brooks's Bass Corner, you can hit that $sign and you can donate to the channel. So basically that allows you to send money over to this channel, which then allows me to buy equipment to review, allows me to hire studios for future video recordings, generally helps with the running of this channel. So if you wish to contribute, you are more than welcome to do so, and it's very much appreciated. And on the same note, there is a relatively new feature on YouTube, which underneath any video content that you find on YouTube, you can now, if you click on the symbol along with the icons, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, the share icon and the save icon, it allows you to donate money to the respective channel if you're just enjoying that particular video. So again, if you're watching this at a later date, or you're watching this now, or any of the videos on the channel, if you hit that symbol, it allows you to donate to what we're doing here on Brooks's Bass Corner, and it is very much appreciated. So I will say thank you in advance. So hopefully you'll find something useful here on Brooks's Bass Corner. So gigs this week, what have I done? I had a function gig on Tuesday last week, playing with Miracle Cure function band, and that was over in Reading for Johnson & Johnson, big corporate event, which was very good. Then Wednesday I got to see Marcus Miller. First time I'd seen him in 5 years, although he had been here in the UK I think prior to COVID. It was either just before or maybe it was last summer, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't attend those shows, but the last one I attended was in 2017 at the Royal Festival Hall, I think as part of the London Jazz Festival. So he was Marcus, hot on a series of festival shows over in Europe, and he came over here last Wednesday, did 2 sets on Wednesday night, did 2 sets on Thursday night, and 2 sets on Friday night. If you were lucky enough to see any of those performances, I think you will agree, the man was on fire. He had a 5-piece band, himself, drums, keys, sax, trumpet. And the show I saw, the second set on Wednesday night, was about 75 minutes long, and it was outstanding. He played across his whole career. But the problem with only a 75-minute show with Marcus is the fact that most of his songs and the material become like 8, 9, 10, 12 minutes long. So he didn't do that many, but he certainly filled the 75 minutes. And the band he's got with him, I hadn't seen any of those musicians with him before, and they were absolutely outstanding. And I went as far as to say to his European promoter, Bernard Dulau, hello Bernard if you're out there, it was possibly the greatest version of Tutu I've ever seen Marcus play. And I've attended about 9 of Marcus's shows here in the UK over the years, and I've seen a version of Tutu literally on every show. I hadn't heard him quite do it like that. He was segueing into kind of, it was borderline EDM, electronic dance music, but it was very funky, very dancey. The jazz element was there, but he was just firing off the musicians in the band, and it was absolutely great. And at one point I thought, I don't know how he's going to get out of this sort of dancey section. Is very high tempo. I don't know how he's going to get back out to the end of Tutu. Somehow they managed it, and it was fabulous. I wish I had an audio recording, but it was just magnificent. And then I was enlightened to be offered to go backstage. Marcus and I have previous, obviously I've done an interview with him for Bass Guitar magazine. I've met him on several occasions, and if you want to hear the interview I did with him back in 2014, I will put a link to it in the description box below, and there may well be a link here. It'll either be that side or that side, depending on how this camera is going to flip the video feed on YouTube. So it's going to be that side where the Stormtrooper's head is. I'll put a link to the interview there, so you can find that on the channel. That goes back to 2014 when he was here for London Jazz Festival again. That was just preceding the Aphrodisia album launch, when he had a band of Senegalese, and actually I don't think they were all from Senegal, but they were certainly all African. There may have been several from France as well. But basically he had his own band and then another band from Africa, and doubled up on quite a lot of the songs, and it was fabulous. So that interview is already on the channel if you want to check it out. There is also an episode of the Essential Bass album series from the previous 23 videos, where I've talked about The Sun Don't Lie, which was Marcus's solo album after the death of Miles Davis. And that was where he kind of went off more in a jazz direction compared to the first couple of solo albums he'd done in the 80s. So again, if you want to check that out, I'll put a link to it in the description box below. I may well put it here as well. That may well now be there for you to click on. And if you want to check that out, feel free. So then Thursday I had, well, Thursday, Friday and Saturday I had shows with my 9-piece disco funk show band called Uncle Funk's Disco Inferno. Thursday we were at Stand and Calling Festival in Hertfordshire, on the same lineup as the likes of Madness and Gabrielle and various other luminaries. Craig Charles's Funk and Soul Show was there. They were on, or he was on after us on the Laundry Meadows stage, and we went on, I think, about 8:15. And during the sound check or line check, which is what we had, which was about 15 minutes before we went on, there were very few people in front of the stage. And last year we headlined that stage, and I was a little worried that there were bigger acts playing on the main stage either side of us, and we were going to suffer the ramifications of that. That didn't happen. So during line check, there couldn't have been more than about 10, maybe 15 people milling around in front of the stage. And I thought, please, someone come down while we're playing. We went backstage, got ourselves ready. We came out, and there were several thousand people there, which was very nice, and meant we had a great show. And we had so much fun Thursday. Thank you very much, Stand and Calling. You did not let us down. If you want to check out any of the videos, there will be various things posted up on all the social media platforms. There are some videos on my own personal Facebook and Instagram pages. I'm sure if you want to find me, look for Mike Brooks, you'll find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So there are some videos that have already emerged from that show, and you can see what I'm talking about. So we're playing various sheet numbers, and you'll see this big large crowd in front of us. So that was great. Then Friday we were at Chid Fest in Chiddingly in East Sussex. Trying to think who else was on. 5 were on, or the remaining members of 5, now 3. And Dario G, who was a DJ from the late 90s and early 2000s. He was on the lineup as well. Owen Paul from the 80s, and various other bands. We were on the first day of the festival. They carried on into Saturday and Sunday, but we did Friday, and that was great as well. We managed to dodge some rather precarious weather that seemed to appear on Friday afternoon, but we did okay. And the audience were great, so thank you very much, Chidfest. If you were there, hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you again next year, hopefully. And then Saturday we had a private function with Uncle Funk, and again, actually that event was a belated 50th birthday that was 3 years late because of COVID, and we had an absolute blast. I think the guests did as well. And then yesterday I had the fortune to play at Marvellous Festival over in Wokingham in Berkshire, and that was with Platinum ABBA. So I went from black lycra with Uncle Funk to white lycra for ABBA, resplendent with a nice long Swedish looking wig, and we basically did the greatest hits of ABBA for an hour and 10 minutes. And again, that was in front of several thousand people, and some videos and photos are starting to appear. So that was great fun. So it was a very busy week, all told. So if I'm a little raspy in the throat department and look a little weary under the eyes, that is probably why. But onward we go. So tonight is live chat 18. We've got another 2 Mondays coming up. If you wish to attend, you are certainly more than welcome. You can go to the, if you go onto the front page of the channel, and you'll see the videos that are pending, that will happen in the future. And those live chats for next Monday and the Monday after are already booked in. So if you want to attend, you can hit the set reminder button, and it will let you know on the day that this live chat is going to happen. And if you want to come along, it would be very much appreciated, and you're more than welcome. So anything you wish to contribute, put it in the chat window, and we'll get this this chat rolling. So I'm just trying to think. Status Graphite, Rob Green. So while we've been in lockdown and come out the other side, Rob Green, who is the godfather of Status Graphite, pretty much, had a cancer diagnosis and has been treated for it, and apparently very successfully. I don't know if he's still undergoing treatment or not. That wasn't made obvious in the message that was posted up on Status's website last week and on their social media channels. But basically, the production of new instruments from Status and the design of new instruments is now going to wind down. Spare parts and repair services from them at their headquarters in Colchester will still exist, will still continue, and they will continue to support their instruments. There may be some more product to come out. There may be. They've hinted at one or two projects that I guess are in the melting pot. So we have to wait and see what comes from that. But for any bass player over the last 40 years, you couldn't have avoided Status and their graphite necked instruments, their replacement graphite necks that you can buy for Stingrays, Jazzes and Precisions. And I'm sure you won't have missed the plethora of artists that have used Status instruments to their benefit, like some Mark King, Guy Pratt, John Entwistle, Chris Wolstenholme, Rhino Edwards. I mean, the list is huge and immense. And at one point in the 80s, probably even prior to me starting, which was 87, I mean, they really were high flyers, certainly on the UK market and even abroad. You know, likes of Mike Porcaro were early adopters of Toto, obviously. Was an early adopter of Series 2000 instruments, and he later used several Empathy models. And they were really everywhere. And I can remember going into bass shops here in London, and Status was a buzzword. You know, if there was one for sale, there were a lot of people queuing up to have a go and try it. And in the upper end stores where you could buy the more expensive instruments, generally there was always a couple of Statuses about, and they really made a huge impact here in the UK, and certainly impressed me. I can remember very early on someone saying, "Oh, you really should play a Status," and I mean, I didn't have the money for one, but over time I made that happen. I've got my Empathy here, 4-string Empathy from 1998, and I have various other Status basses here in my rack, and I've got a graphite necked Stingray here, Music Man, and it's a bit of a sad time. And Rob isn't going to be the only UK luthier who is going to start winding down over the next 5 to 10 years, I would imagine. Some of these brands I'm sure will continue, but some may not. So, you know, we've had a very rich period of bass manufacture and popularity over the last 30 or 40 years. So, you know, we have to applaud what these luthiers and manufacturers have done for us. They've and certainly with Status, you know, they've left their mark. And I can only imagine that these instruments are going to suddenly race up in price once they stop being produced. I mean, a lot of the older vintage models weren't being produced anyway, but it's just the knowledge that there isn't going to be too much new product appearing. But you never know. Maybe Rob will surprise us. But from me to you, Rob, if you're out there watching this video, thank you very much for everything you've done. We've met on numerous occasions. You've always been fabulous. And, you know, thank you for such wonderful instruments. And it really is a pleasure to play those and take them out and give them a good run often. And Lord knows I've made great benefit of having graphite necked instruments when I've been abroad playing in very hot locations, and they've always stood up. You know, there's been no movement in those necks, and I've never been let down by status, and they really are quite something. So if you're new to bass, or even if you're old to bass, if you come across a status on your travels, check it out. Might just take your fancy. So there we have it. So kind of that's a recap of what's going on. There's going to be new videos, as I said, from tomorrow. Tomorrow's one is edited up, ready to go. So I will be here promoting it tomorrow across social media and here on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, I would imagine it will be published around 5 o'clock here in the UK. So we're British summertime at the moment. So depending where you are in the US, I guess if you're on the east side, that's going to be around about midday for you. And if you're on the west coast, that will be 9 a.m. Yeah, 9 a.m. for you on the west coast. And elsewhere in the world, you'll have to do your own calculations for time, because I can't be doing that. So yeah, around about 5 o'clock UK time tomorrow, there'll be a new video up, and I'm hoping to get quite a bit of content up this week. So keep checking back and keep an eye on the community tab as well. For any of you that don't know, the community tab is a section on YouTube, on a YouTube channel, that basically acts like a social media channel. And basically we can post, us creators can post images, polls, videos, links, and communicate with you guys without having to go off the platform. But the way the modern world is, we all sort of tend to use Instagram, Facebook and Twitter for all of that sort of stuff. But I'm trying to duplicate what I put on the social media platforms onto YouTube via the community tab. So keep checking that out, and there will be plenty of info coming up over the week as I post up new videos. So I can see there are people watching this, but there's nothing coming through on the chat window. So if you've got anything you wish to communicate, or anything you'd like to ask regarding what's on the channel, the content, I'm just going to have a look here. Check the chat. I need to see all of those messages. There we go. If you want to ask anything about any bass gear, basses, amps, effects, accessories, if you want to ask anything about playing, you want to ask anything about gigging, you want to ask anything about doing festivals, you want to talk about any bands, bass specific albums, anything to do with Bass Guitar Magazine or Bass Player Magazine, 2 illustrious tomes I've been very lucky to have written for the best part of 18 years. So if there's anything you'd like to ask about that, feel free. If you want to ask anything about the gear, you see, and there's more, and various basses and what have you. If you want to ask anything about any of this, then feel free. And if you're listening to this after the event, you can still contribute to this video by submitting comments via the comments section, and I will come back to you as soon as I can. One thing I should show you. So sometimes I get asked what basses I'm using on different gigs. Very often it depends on what the gig is and what band and what I'm doing. But for people who are regulars here on the channel, you've seen this before. So this is a GB Guitars Rumor 4-string made for me 18 years ago, funnily enough. Yeah, coincided with me starting to write for Bass Guitar Magazine, although the two aren't linked. And this is what I used on everything last week. You can even see the muckiness on the finish. It needs a good wipe. It'll get it tomorrow. So yeah, so this is a GB Guitars Rumor 4-string made by Bernie Goodfellow. It's signed on the back of the neck for me. It was made to my spec, and it's even got a little gunshot wound there in the wood. So you're going to be asking, why has it got 4 batteries? Okay, we've got 2 for the circuit, which are I've even got my glasses on. That's the two for the circuit. These two are for LEDs. So you're saying, well, where are the LEDs? So there we go. So we've got LEDs along the front. We've got fiber optics along the side, which are for my benefit, not yours. And then there are, I think there's 6 or 7 LEDs in the logo on the headstock. And that's it. And I do get asked occasionally, what's the elastic band for? Well, the elastic band is for when you're transporting this around, usually in a gig bag. It can be hyper annoying if you put new LED batteries in. You get to your gig and they're drained because the LEDs have come on in the bag. So the idea of the elastic band is it puts some restriction on how that switch can move. So it's less likely to rub against the inside of the bag and turn on. So for the sake of having a rubber band and not running down 2 brand new 9-volt batteries, it works for me. And I do that on all my LED equipped bases. If you're asking what that is, that's a Neutrik locking jack socket. Any bass player who's played for any length of time will have done the old mistake and trodden on their jack lead and ripped it out of their bass. Well, you can't do it with this, or you would seriously need to expend some force to rip it out. But basically it's a locking jack socket, so once the cable's in, it's not going anywhere. What we got on here? 3-band EQ, treble, middle, bass. This is a series parallel switch, which gives you 2 distinct types of tone. Then we've got standard clicking volume control, so you can be fairly precise, and pickup pan, balance control. 2 GB humbucking pickups. We've got, I think that's an ABM bridge, which allows me to do string spacing. It's not strung through the body. And what are we looking at? Bird's eye maple fingerboard, bird's eye maple neck. I think we went with walnut on the laminates, and it's great. Contoured for me, plays great, absolutely superb. And his lordship, Mr. Bernie Goodfellow, took a look at it on Friday when I was down there, and I don't think he needed to tweak it. He just said no, perfectly all right. So she's playing great. So I did all of last week's gigs, all 5 gigs with this old guy. So yeah, standing up very well after 18 years. So there we go. So if you've got any questions about that bass, if you don't know what GB guitars are, or kind of what they do and what they make, fire away. I'll take your questions. Trying to think what else I need to mention to you guys. So there's going to be a load of pedal reviews coming up shortly. Videos are filmed, just waiting for me to edit them up. I'm also going to do a series of pedal videos that have specific settings. Very often people see my pedal board that I take out on gigs and I say, how do you find what sound you want for which song? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each pedal and maybe do 5 settings that you, or I think you might get some value out of. You might find particular sounds for a particular song, or certain effect sounds that work with a particular instrument really well. Sometimes you might have a bass with a very renowned pedal, it just the two don't mix. So I'm going to try my best to find like usable settings for you, try and give some examples, and maybe try and find certain sounds that are on famous songs or pieces of music and say, how about that with that bass? So that's going to be kind of a spin-off from the bass effect. So I will notify via the community tab once those videos are ready. So let's see who we've got here. I can see there are people watching, so that's all good. There's no questions coming up on the live chat at the moment. So if you're watching and you'd like to contribute, or you'd like to ask me anything regarding the channel, basses, bass gear, amplification, effects, accessories, gigging, playing at festivals, if you want to discuss any bands, any bass players, bass legends, if you want to discuss any of the interviews that are here on the channel, or any of the interviews that I've done over the years for the 2 magazines I've written for, or anything bass related, now is your chance to interrogate me. And like I say, there'll be 2 more Monday night live chats. There'll be one next week and then one the week after. So if you want to attend those or be reminded of them, if you go to the video section of this channel, Brooks's Bass Corner, you'll see there are 2 pending live chat videos. You can click on either one of those and set a reminder by pressing the Set Reminder On button, and it will send you a reminder on the day, so you'll know that this live chat is taking place. I'm going to do a feature video soon on 5 strings, or at least the 5-string basses that I have here. I've got 4 or 5 of them, and try and talk to you guys about how different that low B string performance can be. Each of the basses I've got here, 2 of them are quite similar, but they sound different. And if I put all 5 strings together and played them, they're all radically different from each other. So the reason I'm thinking about this is I did a show recently and someone asked why I didn't have a 5-string with me on that day. I didn't need to have a 5-string. They were going, oh, it's just every player I see has a 5-string. I said, well, to be honest, the material we're playing and the fact there's a keyboard player as well, it's quite a big band. I said it would kind of be a bit redundant, from my opinion. And he said, well, yeah, he said, yeah, every 5-string I hear sounds the same anyway. He says, once you got onto the low B string, it just becomes a thud. No one can really hear it. I thought, well, if that's the case, if that's what you're hearing, then either the people playing them aren't cutting through, or you're not hearing it right, or maybe the way it's being mixed isn't right. Because, okay, once you get onto the low B string and into the lower frequencies, they can sound a bit wishy-washy. But I'm quite lucky that the 5 strings I have here, none of them suffer from that sort of woolly, indistinguishable bass tone that some 5 strings tend to suffer from. So I want to do a video that says, look, you know, here's 4 or 5 strings, and I'm sure you'll agree when you hear the sound demos, none of them sound remotely the same. So that will appear, thing, I would imagine, in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, once I've sat and worked out how I want it to look, and I've done a storyboard for it. So that will appear, yeah, within the next 3 to 4 weeks, I would hope. So I hope some of you out there will find some use for that. There's still nothing on the live chat at the moment, but I can see there are people watching. So we'll give this another couple of minutes, and if you guys aren't looking to get involved tonight, then that's cool, and we'll just save it for another night, maybe next week. Maybe everyone's a bit wiped out after the hot weather last week. For anyone who's unaware, this live chat is happening a week after we had the furnace here in the UK, where we reached 40 degrees on 2 days on the trot last week. I think everyone's a bit sapped. I know, talking to people over the weekend at the various gigs I was doing, both band members and audience members all said pretty much the same. They were flaking out by Friday. It was just the heat from earlier in the week had kind of worn everyone out a bit, I think. So yeah. So okay, on that basis, there's nothing coming up here in the live chat. So thank you very much if you have been watching. If you're watching this after the event, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, or enjoyed anything else on the channel, or watched any of the other videos, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you'll get a notification when I post up new content here on the channel. And also give this video or any of the other videos a thumbs up. It would be very much appreciated, and it helps me with regard to the YouTube algorithm. So on that one, I will bid you good evening. Hope you have a great week, and hopefully catch up with some of you next Monday here on Brooks's Base Corner for live chat number 19. Take it easy. Have a good week, guys.